If you drive long enough after midnight, you learn there are two kinds of hazard lights. The ones that mean trouble and the ones that feel like a mouth saying please come closer. My story is allegedly true. My name is Justin, I'm 28, and I run produce from Amarillo to Albuquerque twice a week in an old white Tacoma with a topper. On February 19th last year, I left Amarillo late after a loading delay, hit I-40 West around 11:20 p.m., and told myself I'd make Gallup before grabbing a nap at the Travel Plaza. Past Tucumcari the road went empty fast, a straight dark zipper unrolling into broken mesas. The wind smacked from the south and the radio faded to a whispering preacher who wouldn't land the plane. Near mile marker 300 a sedan sat sideways on the shoulder, nose toward the ditch, hazards punching orange into the night. A woman stood behind it with both arms up and that quick flap that says please stop. Please. There were no other cars in sight. My foot came off the gas before my brain could catch up. I don't stop for most highway weirdness. Years of listening to truckers at counters taught me that if something looks off, keep rolling and call it in. But this looked textbook. Hood popped, hazard triangles neatly set. A flat tire leaned against the guardrail like she tried and failed. Her face looked red with cold. In my head I heard my mother saying, "What if that was me?" I slowed to 20 and set my flashers as I crept along the shoulder behind her bumper. The first detail that tripped a wire was the license plate. There wasn't one. Holes but no plate. The second was the tire itself. It looked too clean, like a prop, not road filthy, and the jack under the car wasn't touching the frame. The third was the shape under the bridge shadow 20 yards ahead, right where the concrete overpass threw a black wedge over the median. I caught it in the side mirror, a person low and still. The woman didn't glance at me. She glanced at that shadow. I rolled another 10 feet and my stomach went cold. From the ditch, farther back, a second set of hazard flashes blinked once and died, like someone testing a switch. There should not have been a second car down there. I spared one hard look straight ahead and saw, just for a tick, the ash-gray outline of a pickup tucked nose in behind a support pillar, lights off, tailgate down. My brain quit debating. I took my foot off the brake and eased left back toward the lane. That was when the woman sprinted at my door. She wasn't limping or shivering. She moved like a runner off the block, hand out, grabbing for the handle. I'd already locked it. I floored it without the luxury of easing. The Tacoma fishtailed, caught, and I merged hard while the pickup under the bridge snapped its headlights on. It lunged, stones spitting. The woman peeled back toward the shoulder faster than anyone in a dress should in that cold. People say don't call 911 while you're driving. I hit the hands-free on my steering wheel and did exactly that. I gave mile markers, direction, vehicle descriptions. The dispatcher's voice was calm, almost bored, and it helped. She told me to keep speeds reasonable, stay in the right lane, and do not, under any circumstance, stop on the shoulder to talk to anyone. In my mirror, the pickup's lights hung at a distance that said we're not done. The sedan and the woman disappeared behind the bridge like props struck from a stage. I know that stretch like a playlist. The next exit with lights was Santa Rosa East, 6 miles. The pickup kept station 2 car lengths behind me, weirdly disciplined, no swerves, no horn. Twice it crept to the left like it might try to pace me in the blind spot, then slipped back. The dispatcher said a highway patrol unit was coming down from the west with lights dark to intercept. I passed one ranch road, one narrow bridge, and a dead deer that flashed white in my high beams like a warning flag. At the Santa Rosa East off-ramp I signaled and took it like a normal person, not a movie. I rolled into the Chevron lights, wide lot, 3 semis fueling, and parked nose out near the store. The pickup came up the ramp slow and kept going past, like it had never seen me in its life. 30 seconds later a state police charger ghosted in from the west with no lights, slid behind the building, and then flared its bar. The trooper was tall, quiet, and looked exactly like someone who has seen too many versions of this. He took my statement while another unit idled at the on-ramp. Over the radio came a report of a disabled sedan now mysteriously gone, last seen near mile marker 300. They ran my description of the pickup and got a possible hit on a plate registered to a truck reported stolen out of Lubbock the week prior. The trooper told me something I still hear when I see any car angled funny on the shoulder. If they really need help, they'll call. If they can't call, you call. You don't need to be the phone. I slept 2 hours in the lot with my seat back and the doors locked. When I got moving again at gray dawn, the bridge where it happened looked like any other bridge until I saw the faint ripple of tracks down the embankment where a truck had hidden and the scuffed place in the gravel shoulder where someone had stood and waited to dart. It looked harmless in daylight. That's the point of a good highway trap. It borrows the shape of mercy and wears it like a safety vest. Always. My name is Dana. I'm 32, an ER nurse out of Dayton, Ohio, and on March 7th last year I drove home after a 12-hour shift that ended late. It was a Sunday night, cold rain on I-75 South, the kind that throws mist off every semi and makes you feel like you're driving inside a breath. At 12:10 a.m., near mile marker 56, I saw a silver minivan angled on the shoulder with its hazards jabbering and a woman waving both arms like she was trying to land a plane. 2 orange triangles sat perfectly spaced behind her bumper. A child's car seat lay on its side in the lane, pristine, no dirt, no road rash. The tableau yelled textbook emergency. I dropped to 30 and slid onto the shoulder, flashers on, palms sweating in that way you don't admit at work. As I rolled closer, 3 small things did not add up. First, there was no license plate, just the holes and a rectangle of cleaner paint. Second, the jack under the van didn't touch metal. Third, someone crouched in the dark slice under the overpass 50 yards ahead. Low, still, hands on knees the way a runner waits for a baton. The woman didn't look at me so much as she checked that shadow for its cue. I coasted past the car seat without stopping, straddled the fog line, and said to myself, call it in, don't be the hero, not out here. That's when the minivan's reverse lights flicked on. I was still moving, maybe 15, and the woman lunged for my handle, fingers spidering at glass she didn't quite reach. I slid left, added gas, and the shape under the bridge came alive with white headlights snapping on like a trap springing. I didn't floor it so much as I let the truck be a truck and go. Hands-free, I hit 911 and said mile 56 southbound, Silver Odyssey, no plate, possible ambush, 1 vehicle hiding under the overpass, 1 female decoy on the shoulder. The dispatcher's voice sounded like a cup with water in it, steady enough to quiet the part of my brain that wanted to sprint forever. She told me to keep moving, stay on the phone, and go to the next exit with lights. In the mirror, the pickup tucked under the bridge settled into my lane 2 lengths back. Disciplined, no horn, no flash, the kind of following that tries to feel like coincidence. I passed a narrow bridge and a service road, both bad places to die politely. Santa Fe Avenue came up with its lonely blue logo boards and a gas station icon like a blessing. I signaled like a person with nothing to hide, eased down the ramp, and rolled beneath sodium lights so flat they could iron your soul. The pickup took the ramp too, then sailed past at a civilized speed. Driver turned stone front to the windshield. I parked nose out by the diesel pumps next to 2 Peterbilts, hands shaking now that motion was over. A state police cruiser ghosted in from the west shoulder 2 minutes later with its bar dark, slipped behind the bays, then lit everything up red and blue like a holiday you didn't ask for. The trooper who came to my window was compact, quiet, and looked bored in the way of someone whose adrenaline learned manners. He took my recount like it was a grocery list, asked if I'd seen a tag, asked if the woman spoke, asked if I'd noticed anyone else on the shoulder. I told him about the crouch under the bridge and the clean car seat and the jack not touching, and something in his eyes clicked from bored to business. Over the radio a second unit said the sedan had vanished, triangles and all, but there were muddy boot prints in the slush down the median cut. They ran a partial plate I'd caught in my mirror, and it pinged a stolen pickup out of Oldham County taken 3 nights prior. The trooper said, "We've been seeing staged breakdowns between Tucumcari and Santa Rosa for a month now. 1 decoy, 1 blocker, sometimes a third to come up the ramp after you if you stop short. They toss a car seat or a toolbox, flip a hood, and aim you where the dark hides the second party. If they need help, we help," he said, but from the driver's seat with a phone with distance under lights. I sat in the cab while he wrote, hands finally cooling. A semi-driver knocked on my window to ask if I needed coffee and told me he'd seen the same woman 2 nights before waving a jacket on a stick like a flag. He'd called it in but kept rolling. She turned and walked back to the shadows like she was clocking out. I didn't sleep well that night, even in the lot. Every set of hazard lights on the highway after that looking more like bait than help. In daylight, when I finally drove back east, I pulled to the shoulder near mile 56 just long enough to look. The gravel showed a scuffed place the length of a stride, a smear on the guardrail where a hand had pushed off, and twin troughs down the embankment where a truck had nosed out of sight and waited. I know what I saw could still be stories I told myself later to make the fear make sense, but fear or not, the facts remained. No plate, fake jack, a runner under the bridge, a pickup that woke up exactly when I tried to leave. I don't stop now. I keep rolling, and I pull under light where other people can see, even if that little voice that sounds like my mother says, "What if it's real this time?" That stretch of I-75 looks ordinary again in my rear view, but every time I pass a car angled wrong with perfect triangles and a face too eager, I feel my foot wanting to lift, and I make it stay down and reach for the phone instead. My name is Ben. I'm 24, a parts runner for a body shop in Raleigh, and I do late drops to dealerships along US 64 when the day job spills over. On April 3rd, a Monday rolling into Tuesday, I left the shop at 12:28 a.m. with 2 bumpers strapped in the bed of a shop F-150 and coffee that tasted like last week. I set cruise at 66. Near a dark boat ramp sign, hazard lights punched the shoulder. A compact SUV sat skewed with its hatch open. A woman in a hoodie waved both arms, and in the spill of her flashers I saw a stroller tipped on its side at the white line. It looked like every nightmare I've heard at gas stations. Baby, night, no other cars. I bled speed and slid onto the rumble strip, flashers on. 3 details went sideways. The stroller's fabric was showroom clean, no road grit. The jack under the SUV didn't meet metal. And down in the grass cut, tucked nose first below the grade, sat something with a tailgate and a matte black grille. I caught the faintest wash of an interior light blink on, off. I kept rolling at 10 miles an hour, window up, doors locked, giving myself time to decide. The woman stepped toward my door fast, too fast for someone guarding a kid. I eased left back into the lane and the stroller did a tiny slide as my wake brushed it. Behind me, the nose-down truck lit its headlights and jumped the ditch in one lurch like it had rehearsed. My hands made the choice. I accelerated. I hit the wheel button for 911 and gave the mile marker I just passed, direction, vehicles, and said, "Decoy with stroller, second vehicle hiding in the cut." I'm not stopping. The dispatcher told me to keep moving to a lit exit and not engage. The pickup settled 2 lengths behind. Steady. Twice it nosed left, then fell back. The next lit exit was a closed way station. I took it, slow, normal, rolled under the sodium lamps and parked nose out. The pickup crept up the ramp, then coasted past without turning in. 30 seconds later, a highway patrol Charger slid in dark, circled behind the scale shed, then flared blue. The trooper's posture said he'd seen this. I told him exactly what I'd seen. Over the radio, a second unit found the SUV gone, stroller and triangle scooped up. In the ditch, they recovered a Bluetooth speaker looping infant cries and fresh tire ruts angling into the median cut. The trooper said, "They want you outside your car. Eyes off the second guy. If it's real, we'll find them. You? Keep rolling and call." As I tried to sleep in the lot, every flash of amber on the highway felt like a mouth-forming please. In daylight, the shoulder looked innocent, except for a damp boot print in clay and a line through grass where the stroller had scraped.